Guys, gals, non-binary pals, I think it's time we dive into some more true stories. You know, we highlighted this last episode, but pretty much my favorite kind of true story is the kind you wouldn't really expect to be true. Something that makes you say, wait, that's possible? And while a whole train going up against bees was something I never saw coming, what if I told you there were even more? Today specifically, we're focusing on two, both from a favorite green caterpillar of mine. It turns out there's some stories about Percy that have some real-life basis too. Ones you may not expect, so enough of the intro, let's just jump straight into it. So one of the more iconic Percy episodes is Percy's Promise. We basically see him get completely flooded in, but using floorboards he manages to get himself and his train to safety. Believe it or not, this is pretty much exactly what happened to a train in 1953. And even better, we have a Railway Gazette article here which describes the entire thing. On January 31st at 7:27 p.m., a train from, I think it's Hunstanton, we'll go with that, to King's Lynn, left carrying a small number of passengers, including two very young children. And the train had only gone about a half mile before it was brought to a standstill by the floodwater, which rapidly rose to a depth of about 5 feet. When the train did not reach Hunstanton, members of the operating staff set out to reach the train, but after many attempts they were unsuccessful. By this time the engine fire was almost extinguished, but the engine crew, using the floorboards of the cab, managed to raise sufficient steam to propel the train clear of the water, and back to Hunstanton before the engine would ultimately fail, that being completely at 2:45 a.m. The station master at Hunstanton gave the passengers tea in his house, and they left there by taxi for their destination at 3:45 a.m., appearing none the worse from their experience, and expressing appreciation of the efforts to release them. So yeah, it turns out that story is pretty much real. But that's just one part of what we're talking about today. So this one may not be as popular really, but it's a favorite of mine nonetheless, Percy and the Trousers. So putting this episode in the most simple terms I can think of, Percy basically runs into Topham's luggage and ends up with jam and trousers and a bunch of stuff on top of him. Now you may think this isn't something I have to explain since, yeah, this probably happens pretty commonly on railways or anywhere with a passenger station. But in Audrey's text, there is a specific event cited that inspires the entire thing. It's assumed the event took place in 1914 or 1915. And the text here is quoted from the real lives of Thomas the Tank Engine, sources below. The little boy, who was I, saw and remembered another railway accident at Salisbury, a very jolly one for the heartless onlooker. The principal actors were a porter and an Adams 042 Jubilee. The porter was pushing a trolley piled high with luggage over the crossing at the eastern end of the station. The Jubilee was drifting in with the awful stealth of the light engine. Just as he had pushed the trolley so far, the porter saw the Jubilee. He was human. He fled. Then the Jubilee took the trolley amid. With one brief crunch, it was gone. A buffer punctured sweetly into the great trunk. A tuck box exploded. A hodl? I don't know what that is. Ceased to hold and laid all before us. Neat suits, good jams and choice preserves, dainty millinery, and masculine high boots rose in a swarm from that riven hive. Into the station careened a vision of the Jubilee adorned. A big picture hat crowned a lamp iron. Snowy lingerie blossomed in strange places, or danced a delicate dance on a coupling rod. There was a final tortured scream of brakes and wreckage in the chorus. Then all was still. Strong men, brows bent in horror, leaped down into that vale of tears and began to cram soiled and scattered finery back into split, I also don't know that word, and scalped bandboxes. It was a great destruction. Doubtlessly, much more would follow, but at that point a Great Western train came clanking in. I had never before seen a locomotive with double frames, and with so immense a brass dome, nor yet a train of carriages completely... Another word, what? I turned my back on my first railway incident. Forgive me, reader, for I was only 5. And those are 2 Percy stories you now know are true. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for even more train content. And as always, big shout out and thank you to my patrons for making videos like this possible. Well, On this note, I'm keeping an extra eye on Percy from now on. You know, they're always so adorable, but man, I didn't know they had that much trouble in the— Wait, no, never mind. He's the one in trouble. Oh, this is a situation.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.